Let's go! This guy's silky. Yes, sir. It's an everyone up kind of day. Welcome back to Chicago Hockey Radio. My name's Lee Grossman. With me, as always, is my good friend Justin Lynch, also known as B-Hawks Memes. We've got Raven Gasser on the ones and twos, and Tassos Kirkos with us here today as well. We've got a good show for you. As you can tell from the thumbnail, I've already seen you guys in chat getting fired up. We've got friend of the program, CHR legend, Greg Boysen, coming back again. We thank him very much. We're very excited to talk to him. You guys know how this is going to go. It's going to be State of the Union with Greg. We're going to do all things Blackhawks talk. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about the Stanley Cup playoffs, maybe a bit at the end too. But you guys know how these goes. You guys love the Greg Boysen episode, so we've got another one of those for you today. But before we get into anything, if you're new here, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, Chicago Hockey Radio, and hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. We're going to be live streaming, doing a game companion tomorrow evening for Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final on this YouTube channel, so make sure you're here for that. And then if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us a 5-star rating and review. And follow the Instagram, Chicago Hockey Radio, just so you stay up to date on everything that we're doing here on the show. Okay, before we get Greg, maybe he's going to be joining here sooner rather than later. But I know you wanted to start with a little Lane Hutson
nugget. Yeah,
Calder trophy talk. Your boy Macklin Celebrini comes in third place. He wasn't the runner-up, and we do have Greg Boysen joining us right now. Greg, how are you doing today, sir? Can you hear us?
Yes, he should be able to hear us.
Maybe a mute. Okay. Well, we're figuring this out with Greg. Thoughts on this, Justin?
Yeah.
I
How
know
about Macklin Celebrini finishing third place in the Calder Trophy voting? That's not first place. That's not even second place. That's third place. It's not first place. So my boy, my generational talent, Connor Bedard, would never. They're just not the same, Lee. They are not the same. When he faced off against a hotshot defenseman, he won the Calder Trophy. He didn't lose it. So shout out to Lane Hutson, a big Lane Hutson fan. I've always been a big fan of Lane Hutson. So yeah, shout out to him for winning the Norris Trophy. They're hell of a season from him. And yeah, I think that was a nice little moment yesterday, just seeing that post in the NHL. I just knew it was going to be a good day seeing Celebrini lose the Calder Trophy, and it was a tremendous day. So
yeah, to a Illinois product, to a Barrington product in Lane Hutson. I think everybody here at CHR had him as their Calder winner.
I think so. Yeah.
So I think it's deserved, and he won pretty definitively. So, doing what he did this season in Montreal, helping take that team to the playoffs, scoring as many points as he did as a rookie defenseman in this league. Truly a special rookie season.
He drove the play there. He was a big reason. Probably, I would say, the most important player of that team. Big reason why they made the playoffs this year, right? Really drove the play of guys like Suzuki and Caulfield, and great job quarterback in the power play. Some things he can work on in his defensive game, but yeah, clearly his all-around, his offensive game is really strong, and yeah, definitely a very bright future in this league. And just the fact how late of a pick he was too. It wasn't even a first-round pick here, so second rounder, I believe. So same as his brother Cole. So those two are gonna be lighting up the NHL for a while, and a bit of a shame we didn't take a look at him, but it is what it is.
These undersized skill guys just seem to slide all the time.
They do, right?
Seem to slide in this draft, and Yeah, I'm sure we're going to be seeing more of it this year. But yeah, dude, he's an absolute dog. You got his brother coming up over the next couple years too. So it's going to be fun to watch the Hutson brothers. And yeah, as a Team USA fan, it's exciting to see young American defensemen.
Oh yeah,
like doing well at the highest level. So yeah, shout out to Lane Hutson and. We know Macklin Celebrini and Connor Bedard are going to be getting compared to one another throughout their entire career. So this is a nice little win. First win.
This is a win.
Yeah.
I mean, I kept being told so much how much better Celebrini is, and his points per game production was the exact same as Bedard's rookie year points per game production. And he had guys like Tyler Toffoli and William Eklund and Will Smith to work with, while Bedsy had such powerhouses like Nick Foligno, Phil Kurashev. So clearly they're just not on the same level there. And yeah, I think the hardware case so far is quite a bit larger for Bedsy. I mean, he's won World Junior Golds, right? He's won the Calder Trophy, right? He's been an all-star, and Celebrini has. Well, we're waiting for what Celebrini's going to be, but yeah. So far, the DAC is definitely more in Connor Bedard's favor, and I think shows why he's generational and been Celebrini's franchise. So yeah,
absolutely. Okay, Greg, do we have you? Can you hear us? Can we hear you?
We can hear him now, which is a step up, but I don't know if he can still hear us.
Interesting.
Okay. Do you want me to unmute my? Is it a Zoom issue?
Do we want to do Cale Makar Norris Trophy talk while we wait? Let's just get all the awards out of the way, right?
We can do award talk. Yeah. So that one just came out this morning. Cale Makar wins the Norris. Werenski was second place, and then
Quinn Hughes third place. How about that? I mean, it was definitely a three-way fight there. I mean, not really shocked to see Cale Makar win it. For me personally, I know he won it last year, I believe, but I personally just want to stay in that Vancouver team, and Quinn Hughes was that whole team. So if we're talking most valuable defenseman, if that was an award, he'd probably win it. But Norris Trophy, not surprised. Obviously, Makar had an insane season. I believe his second Norris Trophy. I think he won one in 2022 as well. Werenski's never won the Norris Trophy. Honestly, there's definitely an argument for Zach Werenski this season.
He's going to get one. I think he'll get one, even though he's going to be having to go up against Quinn and Cale every single year.
That's
I think
tough.
He can get one.
Yeah.
I think you can definitely make the argument that Werenski and Hughes were maybe more valuable.
That's what I was going to say. But Makar is the best defenseman.
I mean, Makar had 92 points in 80 games as a defenseman in the NHL. That is absolutely absurd. And I think there's no doubt that he's the best defenseman.
You can't argue against the pick. You really can't. It's no argument there. And something tells me he's going to win quite a few more Norris trophies in his career. So, I mean, where is Makar already ranked amongst the best defensemen in NHL history?
He's got it. I mean, top three.
Right up there. I think so. He's literally a modern day Bobby Orr. That's no glaze.
Yeah. So shout out to him for winning. I do enjoy these video behind the scenes, like instead of doing them all at the award ceremony.
Yeah.
I like that we're seeing this in like the whoever wins, like their families getting involved or the teams getting involved. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I do like this format. It's growing on me. I like that they're trying to do something new and different. Mm-hmm. And I think like the NFL does it a lot with like the Hall of Fame, and those are like always really cool, touching videos. And we saw Goudreau's wife give Sean Monahan his
stuff like that's cool.
Yeah,
like
those moments I think are worth it, and I like that they're doing something new. Mm-hmm. And you know what they say, third time's a charm. So let's see. Maybe we have them, maybe we don't have them. Greg, can you hear us this time? Can you see us?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Let's go. Yes. Welcome
everyone up. All right, welcome, sir. How are you doing today, by the way?
Oh, we're doing good. The beauty of live podcasting is shit don't work half the time.
Hey, it happens, and it's our jobs to figure it out. You know, we have no problem doing award talk when we're figuring out the audio stuff. So, no worries whatsoever there. We were just doing Calder and Norris talk. I guess we'll start there. Thoughts on Lane Hutson winning the Calder first, and then Cale Makar winning the Norris Trophy.
Lane Hutson was great, ton of assists. I don't know how much defense he played this year, but that's okay. He didn't win a defensive award. Not saying he doesn't deserve the award, but if you look, playing in Montreal certainly helped with the voting.
Media, yeah.
Macklin Celebrini gets third, which is a little weird, but if he played in Montreal instead of San Jose, he probably would have won the award.
Mm-hmm.
I would have given it. My vote would have gone to Dustin Wolf just because what he was able to do as a rookie goaltender was very impressive. But all three of those guys deserve it. It was a tough class this year, so no issues with Hutson winning, but he played for the right team to get those votes, I think.
Yeah, a lot of the writers definitely in his favor there. Yeah.
I think 66 points in a rookie campaign is not bad for a defenseman. I do understand. Like I saw the same things this year. Like he's definitely got a long ways to go as far as the defensive side of his game. But yeah, I don't know. I can't scoff at 66 points coming from a rookie blue liner who's not the biggest guy in the world. But yes, I hear your point there. I think that Celebrini's probably a little snake bitten being in San Jose, and then
that's too bad.
I think if Calgary made the playoffs, I think it probably would have gone to Wolf.
He was the most valuable. Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, I mean, 66 points as a defenseman rookie, impressive, but 66 points and a -2 tells you what you need to know.
Fair point.
That's true. That's true. That's true. But I mean, Macklin Celebrini was a dash. I don't know, whatever, probably close to -30
something.
So.
But he's
right. No,
San Jose worst team in hockey. Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, it's the same. Yeah, plus minus is a dumb category, and it doesn't. But I just for people who love to throw that out there, like, well, how can Connor Bedard be any good when he's a minus whatever? Well, that guy's a -2, and his job is not to be a minus. His job is to be a plus.
Yeah.
He's a defenseman.
Yeah, fair enough. And then I guess Norris, Cale Makar, 92 points in 80 games. Werenski and Quinn Hughes, the runners up there. Any complaint there from you? Also, thoughts on adding a defensive defenseman trophy?
Yes.
This feels a little like barbaric of us. Like the league has a Selke trophy, a best defensive forward trophy, and the Norris trophy has now just become who's going to score the most points, is it not?
Yeah, I've been saying that for years. You put you add a Bobby Orr award and you give that to the best offensive defenseman, and the Norris is for your best overall defenseman. Though Cale Makar is not just an offensive defenseman.
He's not.
Like he is all around the best defenseman in the game. It's not, Quinn Hughes is close-ish, but he's in a league by himself.
Yeah.
I think Makar is probably going to miss out on some Norrises in his career just because people have fatigue of voting for him every year. But he's the best defenseman in the league. Offensive, defensive, he brings it all. So there's no issues there. But I agree, there should be, an award for both sides of the defenseman. You would have had guys back in the day, Nicholas Jarmelson, Brent Seabrook would have had more consideration for those kind of awards. But when you do it, and a guy like Quinn Hughes too, he plays defense really well too. They're not Erik Karlsson. They're not Lane Hutson. They actually can stop a guy from scoring.
Good all-around defenseman, two-way.
So sure. I definitely don't have a problem with that. It just turns out that Cale Makar was the best defensive defenseman and the best offensive defenseman. That's how rare of a player he is.
So he'd be winning both.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes on like a Nick Lidstrom type Norris run where he's just,
He's going to get a heart before it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I think you're
at least
right.
one. At least one.
That wouldn't be the most shocking.
What's last time defensive? Was it Chris Pronger last time defensive won the Hart? It was like 25 years ago.
It's probably
crazy.
been a long time.
How about that? Yeah.
Do you want to kick us off with some Blackhawks talk here?
Yeah, sure. I feel like the right place to start is probably draft talk. I'll ask two questions. Who do you want the Blackhawks to pick at 3? Who do you think they're going to pick at 3? Yeah.
I cannot wait for this draft to be over because I'm tired.
You don't want to keep talking about it? Yeah. We need more, Greg.
So I'm so sick of this. I can't wait for free agency to be over. All of this. I just want all of this stuff to
Next
be over
season, yeah.
so we can stop with the speculation and our hand wringing on every single report that comes out there about this guy and that guy. Here's the thing about the third overall pick, when you have that high of a pick, you shouldn't necessarily be looking to fill a need. I think that's what some people are like. They want, well, we need size. We have to draft the biggest guy. No, you draft the best
guy.
player. You draft the best player. And if James Hagan is there at 3, he's the best player. Yes, he's not the biggest player. He's 5'11". If he was 6 foot, we wouldn't hear this shit about this. All right.
Gosh.
1 inch doesn't make a difference. That's who I would like. If somehow Misa falls to 3, that's the guy.
Yeah.
We're all doing Kyle, he's not going to be in Los Angeles, but he would do backflips all the way from Chicago to Los Angeles to the stage just to get that pick in. Chances are that's not going to happen, but you never know. So if Higgins is there at 3, that's the best player available in my mind. Though who they're probably going to take, and I don't have a problem with either, probably Frundell. I really like him. If that's the pick, to me, him and Higgins are like best player available A and B. Like they're interchangeable. I think Frundell brings a more complete package. Higgins has a higher ceiling, but Frundell has a lower floor.
Okay.
Or I should say a higher floor. I think he's a safer pick.
I see. Yeah.
Where he may not be an elite superstar, but he's going to be a very good player, where Higgins has that boom or bust kind of feel to him.
Okay. I saw your buddies at CHGO had Porter Martone on yesterday, I believe. I just watched that interview. It was very good. What would be your thoughts on the Hawks taking a guy like that? Because look, when I look at this team, I know everybody has talked about like a common theme that I keep hearing is, they need more options at center. They need center depth. You just heard that Kyle Davidson views Frank Nazar and Connor Bedard as centers. You still got Boyver, you still got Spellacy, you still got more. When I look at this prospect pool, I don't look at it and think, wow, this group really needs a center right now. To me, Porter Martone, a big physical winger, makes the most sense at this spot if we want to do like specific roster talk. Do you see the same thing? Is the speed or the lack thereof a concern for you? What are your thoughts on Porter Martone?
Well, as far as the center stuff goes, you can never have too many of them because they can all swap out. Like it's much easier for a center to play wing than try and make a winger play center.
Fair.
Like you can never have too many. So, that's where, again, I think Frundell kind of fits that mold where you get him and he is a center. There's no doubt about that. That's what he plays, where Nazar, jury's still out. Bedard at some point may become a winger. We don't know. So you can never have too many. Martone is again, I wouldn't be terribly upset if he's the pick. He brings a lot of things that you don't have that you need. I just don't think he's the best player available at that spot. Like if the Hawks were picking 4 or 5, I'd be all over it. I think you might regret, taking him ahead of a Higgins or a Frundell, but there's so many options with that pick that it's really hard to screw it up. You can definitely make it worse, but I think, Martone, people talk about his skating and they bring up the Donahue quote all the time. If you can't skate, you can't be a Blackhawk. Well, listen, if Ryan Donato can improve his skating at 29, Martone can improve his skating at 18 freaking years old. Yes, the Hawks are drafting speed. That's what their Kyle Davidson's vision is, to be the fastest team in the league and play a north-south game, skate guys out of the building. That doesn't mean all 18 guys every night. It has to be the fastest. It doesn't mean they have to
out there. Yeah.
They don't need to have the fastest 18 players in the league every night. It's okay to be the guy trailing and cleaning up a rebound. They can make it work. So he's not my first choice at that pick, but I wouldn't hate it. Like I wouldn't be grabbing my pitchforks and torches and storming the Blackhawks offices. Like I think he could be a very effective player, and he brings that size and physicality and that mean streak that this prospect pool is lacking.
Fair point.
What would be your thoughts on, we've heard some rumblings about potentially trading up, whether it probably less likely being with the San Jose Sharks, more likely being with the Islanders. Presumably Kyle Davidson has the assets to make it happen if he so chooses. What would your thoughts be on trading up for, obviously probably Misa would be the guy who they take at the one spot?
I'm not a fan. I don't think they're in a, the difference between Misa and a Higgins is not that big where you have to and again, also depends on what you're giving up. Like I'm seeing people like, oh, the 25, next year's Panthers pick and Kevin Korchinski. Get out of here with that. Like that's too much for one guy. You're not that far, you're not at a point where you're like, we're a Michael Misa away from winning a Stanley Cup. You still need a lot of help. You still need to build this prospect pool up a bit. Like the difference between 1 and 3 is not that great, where I don't think you should be giving up a ton. But on the other hand, if Michael Misa is the guy, and that's who Kyle Davidson believes is the perfect running mate for Connor Bedard, and he's the guy that puts this team over the top, then be aggressive and go get him. I have no issues. I want my general manager to be aggressive and try and make things happen. We've seen Davidson's not afraid to pull triggers and make tough trades. This is the guy that, first draft out there is trading Alex DeBrincat and trading Kirby Dach. This is the guy that traded Patrick Kane. He doesn't care what Twitter says about his moves.
Unfortunately,
that's what I want. That's what I want in my general manager. I want my general manager to pinpoint who he wants, and it does whatever it takes to get him. So if Misa's his guy and he has to have him, then go get him. I just don't think that's the right move right now. I know everybody is, hey, we've got all these extra picks and prospects. Let's trade them all now to get one guy. That's not the smartest move either.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Fair point. I'd be all for that if I felt confident the Hawks were going to take it Higgins type at 3. But just for me, I'm just a little worried we're going to reach there. So I think for me, that's why I'd be willing to be aggressive and give up those assets. But I understand your point there. It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like Frindell. It seems like from my perspective, it's Frindell or Denwye at that 2 spot. Everything I've heard, it doesn't sound like they're giving James Higgins much consideration at all there. And same thing with Porter Martone. And that's not only just like the whispers that I feel like has come from certain insiders around the team, but also the sports book also has Frindell almost as like a legitimate favorite to be taken there. So
maybe it's a Davidson smokescreen. Huh?
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, you never know. With this draft, it's so wide open. After we don't even know who the number 1 pick is. It should be Schaefer, but we don't know what the Islanders are going to do. You have a general manager who's never been a GM, been on the job for a week. You don't know what he's going to do. He doesn't have a track record.
Yeah.
He could.
Yeah.
He could. Then he doesn't have to spend his entire career trying to, everybody's got to play for their hometown team. So get that out of the way early. Then you don't have to trade for him in 6 years because he's a hometown kid.
Would trading down to 3 and taking James Higgins not make him the most popular guy on the island? Like, I think that would be a good early PR win for him.
Maybe, but being a first-time GM and trading out of the number 1 overall spot, that's not a great look either.
Yeah. That's a fair point.
Guess it depends upon what you get back. Okay, let's move on a little bit from the draft here. What are your thoughts on free agency? I know last time we talked, you were all in on Marner, and I was too at that point. And my tune has changed drastically over the past couple months, and I'll be the first to put my hand up and admit that. What are your thoughts on the Marner's, Ehlers, Bennett's possible free agent signings this summer?
Well, I wrote about Marner yesterday for Chicago Hockey Now. That is the guy you still try and throw anything you got at to bring him here. Guys like Mitch Marner do not hit free agency very often. You don't see those guys very often. We were all like, oh, Leon Draisaitl is going to be a free agent in 2025. Nope. Mikko Rantanen is going to be a free agent in 2025. Nope. Jack Eichel never hit free agency. Connor McDavid's never going to hit free agency. Austin Matthews never going to hit free agency. Like, these guys don't get to this. So when you're a team like the Hawks, you have the money to get it done. Try, like, do your best. Is he going to sign here? Unlikely not. There are going to be a ton of teams after him, but that's another thing I'm getting kind of tired of. Every day it's the Kings, it's the Ducks, it's the Hurricanes, it's the Blackhawks. Toronto's going to keep him. Like, he'll go where he thinks is the best fit. And money helps. The Hawks have a lot of it. He's an elite player. Mm-hmm. I know people love to say, "Oh, he disappears in the playoffs." Yeah, he disappeared this year at what, a point per game average. Yeah, terrible playoff play. Like he's the scapegoat. Austin Matthews has 4 goals in his last 18 playoff games. Yes. How come he's not taking any of his crap?
Cook, because he doesn't have an expiring deal. That's why.
It's fair enough.
Marner is the scapegoat. William Nylander, they were going to run him out of town 2 years ago because, quote, he couldn't get it done in the playoffs. Nobody on that team can get it done in the playoffs. It's in their DNA.
I think Willie does. I think Willie shows up more than both the other two.
Sure, he does now, but 2 years ago they wanted to run him out of town.
But I just after watching every Toronto game, this every postseason game this year, like Marner just like, I hate it. He's like lackadaisical. He just like, that's not going to win in the playoffs. And I feel like the sample size is so big that it's like, yeah, he gets a lot of secondary hockey assists out there and is really good in games 1 and 2, but he just repeatedly disappears in games 5 through 7. I mean, the crazy stat that's been going around Twitter the past couple of days is that Sam Bennett has more goals in this playoff run than Mitch Marner does in his entire postseason career. Like, I understand that maybe he's more of a playmaker, but does he not score goals during the regular season? Like, I just if you're gonna throw the bag at a guy like that, you've got to be sure that this guy's gonna help you win a Stanley Cup. And I know that the team is not in the Blackhawks are in a beggars can't be choosers type situation here, but with Mitch Marner, man, to get him here right now this season, this summer, you're going to have to overpay like crazy for him. And so I guess that's kind of my shift in my viewpoint has been maybe less so about Mitch Marner and more so about the situation that the Blackhawks are in. Because I know everybody likes to talk, oh, the Blackhawks brought in Marian Hossa. They need that big free agent. They need to bring in that big piece. The Blackhawks got to the Western Conference Final the year they signed Marian Hossa. Like, so this team is not there yet. You're going to have to overpay any free agent to get them here right now. Why not just wait an extra season?
Well, I mean, as far as Marner looking lackadaisical on the ice, do you remember watching Patrick Kane play hockey here? He looked lackadaisical quite a bit, including in the playoffs.
But my go always showed up in those clutch moments.
And Mitch Marner plays more defense in a shift than Patrick Kane has played in his entire career. So
but Patrick Kane was scoring, hat trick overtime winners. He was carrying the team on his back.
I'm not saying Marner is better than Patrick Kane, but if you're going to knock a guy for looking lackadaisical on the ice, the Blackhawks won 3 Stanley Cups with a guy that looked lackadaisical on the ice.
That's fair.
Yes, he scored a lot more goals. Marner is there's going to be arguments about him, but if you get him on this team is instantly better. This team is instantly.
Yeah, just think of the impact with Betsy, man.
It would be good. It would be good for business. It would be exciting, but
he's a guy that, like, he was a Selke finalist 2 years ago. There have been, since 2000, only 7 wingers have ever been a finalist for a Selke. Like, wingers, Marian Hossa never got finished higher than 5th, and he's one of the best defensive wingers to ever play the game. Not saying Mitch Marner's better than Marian Hossa. I'm just saying that's an accomplishment. Was some of that votes because he plays in Toronto? Sure it is. But there's only been one winner as a winger since 2000, and he's one of only 7 guys to get. So he's not just going to be brought in here to be a goal scorer. That's like the 3rd best thing he does. He's a guy that fits Jeff Blashill's philosophy perfectly, whereas good defensive habits lead to offensive chances. He's living proof that you could be a 100-point player and play really good defense at the same time, and that's going to rub off on Connor Bedard. That's going to make Frank Nazar, who already believes in that, even better.
Yes.
And you say you got to overpay for him. You have to overpay for anybody you get on the free agency market, especially when you're the Blackhawks. But that's why building through free agency is not the best idea. Yes, you do have to get guys to plug holes, but a guy like Mitch Marner is different because those guys don't come up on the market every day. And you got to now, are they going to have to give him 14, maybe 14.5 a year? Probably. Fine. That's great. Salary cap's going up. Yes, that means salaries are going to go up as well. But the Blackhawks next 4 or 5 years, their roster is going to be full of guys on entry-level contracts. Like, look at the teams who are constantly in the conference finals and Stanley Cup finals. The Panthers, the Oilers, the Stars, the Knights, the Hurricanes. They don't care about 3 years from now. They don't care what the salary cap might look like 2 years from now. They want to win today. They'll worry about tomorrow if and when it gets here. It's not that kind of philosophy doesn't always pay off. Stan Bowman tried to do that, but Stan Bowman was, I'm going to reward you for past performance as opposed to what you're going to do over the next 5 years. So I know we're so it's Stockholm syndrome with the salary cap here as Blackhawks fans. I get it. We're so worried about it. It's not a problem right now. And if Kyle Davidson does this right, it won't be a problem. It's never a problem for Vegas. It's never a problem for Florida, who's probably going to sign Sam Bennett for another $10 million a year. That's fine. They don't care because that's another argument that I'm tired of too. Because
I know. I did it as a bit more so than something I'm at.
Because nobody was talking about state tax when the Kings and the Blackhawks won 4 straight Stanley Cups in two of the highest tax states in the country. You want to get rid of that advantage? Get rid of the fucking salary cap. There you go. Problem solved.
As a Blackhawks fan, I am all for that.
Yeah, well, maybe make this baseball. Yeah, sure, let's do it. Reward the big market teams.
There aren't many teams that have more coin than we do.
Yes, exactly.
The no state tax stuff is an advantage at the negotiation table for sure, but you still have to use that advantage for the right players. And the teams that are winning, Florida, Dallas, Vegas, Tampa, they're using that advantage and getting the right players. You're doing a disservice to those general managers.
For sure. No.
Because look at Nashville, no state tax. They tried to be big players this year, and they finished in second to last place because they went and just spent that money on the wrong guys. You still have to spend that money on the right guys.
It definitely still is about management, but I do think that the discussion does make there's a spectrum here of where people fall on this subject, and it's the maybe the state tax thing was less of an issue 10, 15 years ago, but as the salary cap continues to grow, it's gonna be more of an effect when the salary cap's $120 million versus $72 million. So, but yeah, I'm. The Florida Panthers have done an amazing job of pro scouting and bringing in guys.
Yes.
I mean, bringing in Marchand for a second and Seth Jones, that trade for Seth Jones, that had nothing to do with the fucking, that had nothing to do with the state tax.
It's not even those guys. It's seeing Nico Mikkola and realizing he's a guy. It's seeing Gustav Forsling and he's a guy. And Sam Bennett and Sam Reinhart. Those are guys that were being thrown away by other teams, but they saw what they have. A guy like AJ Greer, things like that. Those are the guys and that has nothing to do with state tax because you need those guys. You can get your superstar for a few dollars cheaper because of no state tax, but as we know, it takes an entire roster to get to the Stanley Cup final, and that's where you have to be really good at your job and find those guys that other teams don't want but fit your team perfectly.
So trades are another way to acquire incoming talent here. There's been a lot of smoke around Jason Robertson of late. Would that be a guy you'd be interested in making a move for if you're not going to be aggressive in free agency?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 25-year-old, 35-goal scorer, not even hitting the prime of his career.
Yeah.
And it hurts the best team in your division.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, you do. You that's the guy that you've stockpiled all these players and picks to go get.
Mm-hmm.
That's a difference maker. You get him and he's locked up for a few years. You don't have to go overpay for a Mitch Marner. You don't have to overpay for a Nikolai Ehlers. You've got your guy. And he's going to be costly, but he'll be worth it.
Yeah, right. That probably does make more sense. Like in my mind, since I saw it announced yesterday, I couldn't believe it. Just like, really, they're trying to make room for a 33-year-old Mikal Granlund. Like I know they got the Ben contract up and Duchesne's up, and they're gonna have to make some decisions here, but Robertson's an interesting guy to let go. Maybe they think he's a little, I mean, I've been critical of him on the show, maybe being a little too perimeter at time, but yeah, I mean, what he does in the regular season is completely undeniable. And yeah, I just feel like if the Hawks are able to make a move for him now, you get 1 year of him at whatever his contract is. I want to say it's like 7.75. And then you renegotiate. If you can get him to play here for a year and then sign a 7-8 year contract for 10, 11, like, I jump all over that. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's definitely a guy. Like, I still have a hard time believing that he's going to get traded.
Yeah.
Like, especially to re-sign Mikal Granlund. Like, I saw that.
Should be the other way around.
Is this a prank?
Yeah, like, I know Jim Nill is really good at his job, but come on, that's he needs a mental health evaluation.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. But you know, I don't know. I mean, they've got Rantanen, so maybe they feel Robertson is expendable now that you have your superstar. So you can go trade Robertson and reload on draft picks and prospects, which, you know, when you're drafting 30th, 28th every year, you're not going to get, you know, another Jason Robertson like you did, you know, before. So maybe that's a way that they feel like we can our championship window is still very wide open, especially with Mikko Rantanen. So maybe, you know, trading Robertson helps keep that open because he helps us with that younger, cheaper talent to come over the next few years. But I still wouldn't make that trade. Maybe they feel they can't extend him after this year just because of his, you know, what his worth will be. I don't know. These Jim Nill is a smarter man than I am, but this one just seems a little strange. I just think that you know, yes, you make a giant play for him. You pretty much anybody not named Connor Bedard, you know, you at least have a conversation about. I don't know if they're going to trade him to, this is old school here, but I don't know if they're going to trade him to somebody in the division.
Yeah.
I don't think they want Jason Robertson showing up 5 times a year and sticking it to him when the Blackhawks get good again. But if the Blackhawks have the best offer, you know, a guy like Jim Nill probably won't turn it down just because, oh, he's in our division. Like, that's not as important as it used to be.
Right. Kind of transition to coaching here. Thoughts on the Jeff Blashill hire and the staff that he's accrued around him? Yeah.
I was like everybody else when his name first popped up, kind of like a whole lot of meh.
Yeah.
Like, oh, really? But then as I did some digging, I talked to a few different people that I know that covered him in Detroit. I got a little more, I don't know, excited the right word, but definitely warmed up to it more. And then having, you know, being there for his introductory press conference, I think it's a really good hire. I wanted Mike Sullivan, so did everybody else, but he wasn't coming here. That was never going to happen. You know, I know everybody was high on Carl, and he, you know, but to me, I was never pounding the table that we need to get him here because that's another unknown. I'm tired of unknown coaches. He's another guy that would have been here for doing everything for the first time. Maybe he'd been great. Maybe he'd be Dave Haxtell. You know, we don't know. Like, college and pros are different beasts. So once those two guys were off the board, I think Blashill was probably the best of what was remaining because he got 7 years in Detroit under a rebuild. You know, like that tells you something. Yeah, the results weren't great, but the rosters were god awful. You know, you could argue that, he had a roster that produced 39 points. It was worse than any roster we've seen here in Chicago in a long time. Yeah. And they didn't get rewarded with a number 1 overall pick. That just breaks my heart. But the fact that he got 7 years of losing tells you like what he is as a person and in that room. And he's won the USHL. He's won at the AHL, and he spent 3 years under John Cooper, the best coach in the game, in one of the best organizations as far as culture goes. So he's definitely a guy that you use those 3 years to learn and to learn from his mistakes. And he's a guy that knows what it's like to be on a team that's going through this transition and everything. And he knows the pitfalls. So as far as his coaching staff, I think Michael Pekka's a great addition. You get 2-time Selke winner, one of the few wingers to win the Selke Award. So he's going to help out. Mike Vellucci is another longtime guy. He's won a Calder Cup. He's he'll be a good fit as well. And you still have Anders on the staff that a lot of these players respect and like him, and that's important. It's much easier to go through the wars with a coach that you actually respect than a guy you just think is full of shit.
I hear what you're saying, and I feel the same way about the entirety of the staff. Like, it really does seem like it's a group with solid experience, but still something to prove. So, like, I'm bullish about them. But are you concerned at all? Blash, obviously, being a more defensive-minded guy, right, was in charge of the defensive schemes and the penalty kill in Tampa. As you just mentioned, Michael Pekka, known two-way Selke winner. Is there any concern at all that this maybe emphasis on defensive hockey will lead to stunts in growth as far as these young players' offensive game, maybe similar to what we were seeing under Luke Richardson at the start of this year?
No, it's not the same as Luke Richardson. Luke Richardson was like defense, yeah. And then maybe we'll play some offense in the third period. Blashow's a little different, where he's like, the defense leads the offense. I mean, look at some of the guys that, in Detroit, you had, Tyler Bertuzzi had his best offensive year playing for Blashill, and Andreas Athanasiou had his best 30 goals playing for Blashill. I mean, somebody had to score goals on that team, just like that's how he got 20 here. But like, those Red Wing teams weren't, hey, hope we win 1-0, 2-1 every time. But they do, it's not going to be the same with Luke Richardson. I think Luke was just a little too stubborn for his own good. But to his point, or in his defense, he didn't exactly have a lot of offense to work with. So he just figured the only way we're going to win is if we win 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. Blashill's got some offense on this team. There are, he's got Bedard and Nazar and, whoever they get this year, and Teravainen, and like, this team is not a terrible offensive team. We saw down the stretch that they can score goals. So absolutely. He doesn't have to be like, oh my God, we're only going to score 1 goal tonight, so we better shut out the other team. No, he just wants to get these guys to play a more complete game, where if you play better defensively, you'll have more time to play offense. Less time in the defensive zone by playing better in there will lead to more time in the offensive zone and more time to pad those stats.
This might be a hard question to answer in June, but expectations overall for the Blackhawks next year. I mean, obviously, we don't know exactly what the roster is going to look like, but probably pretty similar to the March, April, hopefully a couple, studs added in. What are your kind of expectations for growth in terms of points, wins, development, et cetera? Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough thing to really predict without seeing what the roster is going to look like. But I mean, it should be better. Like, maybe like last year, we all thought this was a 70 to 75 point team. So maybe they approach that this year. This is the best coaching staff they've had since they fired Joel Quenneville.
Yep.
So that will make a difference. You've got guys that are now got more experience. You've got this young core kind of gelling and taking, leadership and taking control of the locker room, where at the beginning of last year it was still a very veteran team, but by March it was the kids running the show. So it's going to be a different vibe this year. And I don't think, hopefully when things kind of get off the rails, they don't avalanche like it did at points last season. You talk about that stretch leading into the Winter Classic was just brutal.
Don't take me back.
There was stretches where like they'd have 3 or 4 games where you were like, oh man, this is coming together. This is what it's supposed to look like. And then you'd have 5 or 6 games where you're like, nope, they suck again. So hopefully you avoid that much of a up and down. You play a little more consistently. Having Spencer Knight here full season is going to make a difference. You figure he's going to steal you at least 8 to 10 points just by his play alone. So yeah, I think a 65 to 70 point season is realistic. And I mean, that's still good enough it's going to be a big improvement. It will get people excited. But it also gets you still in the running for the draft lottery. I mean, the ideal season would be the Islanders or the Utah from last year and be sniffing a playoff spot for most of the season, and then somehow luck your way into a top 2, top 3 pick.
I think the NHL would love that.
That would be ideal.
Yeah.
I mean, finish 10th in the standings and win the lottery and get Gavin McKenna.
Easy as that.
Everybody,
Nobody complained about that, right? Yeah.
No, make it happen.
He wants it to happen. Let's be honest.
He's a Hawks fan. Looks like it. He's a big Hawks guy. Yeah.
It's Chicago after all. Okay, so that's kind of expectations there for the team. What about Frankie Nazar and Connor Bedard? What are your? I guess we'll do points. How many points are you looking to see these guys have this year? What's your prediction? What would you like to see?
I mean, Connor Bedard, I'd like him to take a step.
Yeah.
I'd like him to get in that point per game conversation, 80 to 85 points, 35 goals. Take that next step. I think this could be a year to do that. You have some, you have guys now that you've played with for a while. Hopefully Jeff Blashill is not going to be a guy that puts him on 53 different line combinations during the course of the year. He's spending the summer working on, getting better. He didn't go to Worlds. He's trying to get quicker. He's got to be a little more cerebral on the ice, but that comes with experience and age. Less of I'm going to skate through 3 defenders and try and get a shot off, more of live to fight another day, find an open spot in the ice and use that amazing shot you have. And Nazar, there's no reason why Nazar can't be a 50 to 60 point guy next year. And that's all going to depend on, if you just roll with it and say, okay, here's Nazar, Bedard, and Bertuzzi all season. Sure. I mean, that for 82 games could be a very effective line. I think Nazar can be very effective, maybe being the top option on the second power play unit this year. So there's no reason these two guys can't combine, somewhere in the 120, 130 points between the two of them.
I do hope we see them together more consistently next season, especially at the end of the season. I feel like they're really starting to develop some good chemistry going there. So I guess they could drive their own lines too, but to see them consistently play together like Celebrini and Smith, I think that'd be pretty nice. Yeah.
I'll also say I want to see Frank Nazar on the first unit this year because we didn't see it at all at the end of this season. And I think he would be a big help for zone entries on the power play, but also we saw it at the Worlds. Seems to be a pretty good nut front guy. So, you're losing Pat Maroon, throw Frank Nazar up there in front of the net. That's my own personal. I'd give me Frank on the first unit, please.
Yeah.
I mean, that is also going to depend on what, is brought in and who makes this team coming, in October. If you bring in a guy like Nikolai Ehlers, because you miss out on Jason Robertson, on Mitch Marner, you're probably going to put him on that top unit. I mean, if Frank Nazar's on your second unit, that means your first unit's pretty darn good.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's not a bad thing.
No,
you don't necessarily want to put your best 5 guys on that top unit because when they're off the ice, you don't have a chance.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. I mean, hopefully the Hawks are getting a ton of power plays this year because that's a good sign too. They're using their speed to their advantage and they're getting penalties. Yes, I mean they had a pretty good power play last year. The problem was it wasn't on the ice enough. So hopefully this year they get more chances, and then we can argue about this all season because he's not getting enough time. And when you only get one a night, you got to put Connor Bedard out there for all season.
Probably.
If you're getting 3 or 4 a night, you can spread the wealth a little bit more.
It's fair. Besides Bedsy Nazar, which young Blackhawks of his core are you kind of most excited for next season and maybe take that next step? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's going to be on the back end, of course. Yeah. I mean, is Korchinski going to be a guy that's here from opening night? Is he going to take that step? He looked really good in the Calder Cup playoffs. I was impressed with him. In that Milwaukee series, I was able to be at 4 of those 5 games in person and just kind of focusing on him. He was not shying away from the physical play. That was encouraging. He was stronger on those 1-on-1 battles, which again was encouraging because there was a lot of times in that rookie year we saw him get, pushed around. He's definitely gotten stronger and should be even stronger by opening night. What do they do with Levshunov? Is he here to start the season? If he is, that's going to be a guy to watch all season. So those are the kind of guys that I'm looking forward to. I think a guy like Oliver Moore will probably be on that Nazar path. Will start the season in Rockford, and once he says you can't keep me down here anymore, they'll bring him up. We'll see how it goes. There's some young forwards. I know everybody's excited about Nick Larditz, but he's going to need at least a season in Rockford. But we'll see how that all plays out. A guy like Landon Slaggert's another guy to see how he takes that next step. Because let's face it, everybody really likes him, but as more and more of these top picks start turning pro, it's going to be harder and harder for him to stay on this roster.
Yeah, you're going to have to,
which is a
it.
good thing. Like if Landon Slaggert is your 14th best forward, you've got a pretty good team.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see him take a step this year too in his overall game.
Transitioning a little bit away from the Blackhawks, we don't want to keep you here forever, but how excited are you about seeing 19 Jonathan Toews returning to the NHL this year? Do you have any teams that you'd like to see him land on?
It's more of teams I don't want to see him play for.
Agreed.
Yeah. Which are?
That's a really long list.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know what? If he's healthy, yeah, I'm excited to see him back.
Yeah.
Just his competitive nature is missed. I just don't want to see him go out there and embarrass himself.
Yeah.
I don't think he would. He's smart enough to know. Obviously everybody, hey, hometown Winnipeg. I mean, it does make a lot of sense. That's a team that could use a Jonathan Toews, a guy that's, been through all those wars, Conn Smythe, all that stuff. He can help that team that just can't get over the hump just by his experience. Winnipeg's an intriguing spot. Man, he'd be a perfect fit in Colorado. I mean, I don't know. You've got that's where old centers play now. They got Brock Nelson and Charlie Coyle. Why don't you add Jonathan Toews and just be super old and slow down the middle? But
Nelson, Coyle, and Toews down the middle with Nate up front on the first line. It's like it'd be like a change up for defenses. It's like they're getting blitzed by McKinnon, and then they got 3 of the slowest guys.
Guys are gonna have cramps when McKinnon's on the ice. All of a sudden, feel good when that third line gets out there, but. I got in trouble with some Avalanche fans because I tweeted out a few days ago, like, imagine not being able to afford Mikko Rantanen and trading him and then paying Charlie Coyle and Brock Nelson $12.7 million for next year.
Sense.
And people were like, well, that's 2 guys. Yeah, and neither of them are, like, combined won't put up the points that Mikko Rantanen would.
Yeah.
Like, that's bad general managing. And now he's in your division for the next 8 years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can see how the way that first round went and then what Rantanen proceeded to do after that to the Jets and think like, yeah, I'm glad we didn't take, because that was like kind of the narrative. That was something even I said. I was like, wow, this Colorado team actually looks better probably now than beforehand when they had Rantanen.
Except when they had to face him.
Yeah, someone's got to score, and you got to have the big game players that show up in the big moments and score big goals and score hat tricks and do stuff like that. That's pretty important.
The whole thing is that they don't want to pay him more than McKinnon is, again, bad general management. Because if the salary cap goes up, you're eventually going to have to pay somebody more than Nathan McKinnon, i.e. Cale Makar. And do you think Nathan McKinnon, watching Rantanen score those goals in Game 7, would have given a rat's ass if he was making $1 million more doing that for his team instead of against him? Not a chance in the world. The person who cares the least about who makes more than Nathan McKinnon is Nathan McKinnon.
I think he would have given money out of his own pocket to make sure that Rantanen was scoring for his team rather against
they botched that completely. And at least Carolina, like, that was the whole thing was crazy. But at least they realize, hey, this isn't going to work. Let's get as much as we can. And I think Carolina overall got better. Stankhoven fits their team better than Rantanen, and they got a bunch of picks, and everybody got what they wanted except Colorado. And there's reports that Natchez is not happy there. And man, if he doesn't re-sign or you have to
Very
trade him,
screwed.
yeah, he'd look great in a Blackhawks uniform.
So that's
by
what
the
I'm.
way.
I guess that's like that's the FA thing is like, yeah, like maybe they don't come around every year, but every other year they kind of do come around. Like you got Natchez.
You never know.
Kempy's another guy that might open up in a year or two from LA. Yeah, I don't,
Maybe,
There's
but
always someone,
Natchez is a guy to me. If Colorado knows he doesn't want to resign, they're going to trade him to a team that is going to sign him.
True.
So then you just trade for him.
True.
He'll have to change his number. Yeah.
Checks out.
Thoughts of this cup final here? I mean, I think everybody's probably going to start maybe writing the Oilers off right now. I'm not going to be in that camp. How about you? You think they could still come back? I think they definitely can for sure.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the Panthers do this to every team at least once a series.
Yep.
It's what they do. I was surprised. Like, hopefully the Oilers got that out of their system. But like, you don't go from what we saw the first two games to that, and it's not going to stay that way. Like, the Oilers got off their game. I thought when it was 2-1 in the early second period, I was like, okay, here we go, because these are two teams that makes them so great to watch is they rarely, if ever, get off their game plan. Like, okay, we're down early, so what? Keep at it. Oh, we're down 2 in the second period, so what? Keep at it. They just keep coming. So it was strange to see the Oilers lose it. But I mean, I guess, as I said, you knew that game was lost, so go out and make a jackass out of yourself, get it out of your system, send your messages, and then you better win game 4. But this was a team that was down 3-0 last year and almost won game 7. So this was a team that everybody had written off. They were done. The LA Kings killed the Oilers in the first round, and then Jim Hiller said, nope, you can have this series. Like, I'm not worried about the Edmonton Oilers. When you have Connor McDavid and you have Leon Draisaitl,
they can steal a game at any and
take over.
They're never out.
Mm-hmm.
They're never out. So if they win tomorrow night, all of a sudden it's 2-2 heading back to Edmonton, and that whole narrative that the series is over might be switching to the other side. Mm-hmm. So they need Stuart Skinner to be better. I knew it was going to be a long night on that first Marchand goal when he was swimming to the blue line. It was like, what are you doing, dude? But if Skinner rebounds, they'll be fine.
Should they go with Pickard?
No.
Really?
You can't keep doing that.
Oh, I think you got to. I think
no.
Game 4 Skinner's doing pretty good.
This was his first bad game since the Kings series.
But Pickard hasn't lost yet. His
numbers aren't good though.
I think Skinner's not been good enough through 3 here, and I think you've got the option. It's worked for you already in the past. I think if we play game 4 tomorrow and Skinner has another soft one, and Florida puts up 5+ on them again, it might be too little too late, because then if that happens and he has another bad game, they're obviously going for Pickard after that. At that point, I think it's too late. I say do it now. And then if it doesn't work and you go with Pickard and then you go back to Edmonton, you still got a lifeline there. I think it's worked for you this season. The only reason why Skinner's in the net right now is because Pickard got injured, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, but like Pickard came back and they didn't give him the spot back for a reason, because Skinner was playing really well.
Yeah, because he was hot.
You get two versions of Skinner, either really good or really bad. There's not a lot of in between there. Yeah. So I don't know. He was good in those first 2 games. They won the first game. The second game goes to double overtime, and he made some big saves before that. That overtime goal. There's only so many overtime breakaways you can allow before you're eventually going to score. He stopped Reinhard in the first overtime. I don't make that move right now. I mean, Skinner's your guy. He's whether he's a franchise goalie or not, he is your franchise goalie right now. I think showing no faith in him at this part of the season, you might as well just not give him a uniform for the rest of the series. Because, I mean, what's that going to do to his confidence? Mm-hmm. But showing him that you still believe in him.
Yeah.
And, hey, if he gives up another goal in the first minute, then sure, you can yank him, and then you've got a full game with Pickard to kind of come back. But I bounce back with him. If he's your guy, he's your guy.
Yeah, agree.
I don't know if he's the guy. I guess that's my.
Like, you just don't have a great alternate option.
Do you still like? Obviously, it's possible for Edmonton. It's only 2-1. Do you see Edmonton coming back and winning, or are you leaning Florida?
No, I mean, I picked them to win in 7, so I'm not going to change because for that pick to come true, they would have to lose 3 games. So they only have to lose 1 more. So
you're cooking.
No, I fully expect this series to go 7. I expected it to go 7, before it even started. So right now it's playing to exactly how I envisioned it. Like, yeah. So Edmonton, if they could steal a road win, even if they fall down 3-1, I'm not writing them off. It's not looking good, but I'm not digging their grave just yet because 2 of the last 3 games are at home ice. Not that that's been. The Panthers has been a ridiculous road team in these playoffs for the last couple of years. It doesn't faze them, but these teams are so good and so deep that this is not ending in 5. I'd be shocked if this ended in 5. I think the Oilers, learning everything they've learned, they keep talking that they know not to get too high or too low. So let's see that in action and bounce back with a win tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Before we get you out of here, Justin and I on the stream for Game 3 had a discussion in the first intermission about the depth or lack thereof of the Oilers. Do you see a big contrast in the depths of these teams, or are we tweaking there and just because I look at that Oilers bottom 6 and I look at these guys we got Kapanen and 30-however-year-old Vander Kane playing on the second line with Leon Draisaitl. I see these teams as a mismatch. It's just the Oilers have like the 2 best players in the world. Are we off on that?
No, I think Oilers are a deep team. They just Connor Brown's been really good on the bottom 6. He's just not healthy right now.
Hyman out hurts.
Yeah, I mean that does. Yeah, I mean because that now bumps up a guy that you wouldn't be. They love Trent Frederick. I don't get the Trent Frederick love. I mean he's fine, but Adam Henrique has got a really nice career, but he needs to bring something.
Yeah.
The one guy that I think is going to score a huge goal before this series is over. We saw it last year. Oh. No, he's already done that. It's Blackhawks legend Matthias Janmark is going to have a big goal.
Blackhawks legend.
Yes.
I love Matthias Janmark. When the Hawks had him, I was like, give him the 8-year deal. I love this guy. He's perfect for these situations.
Yeah.
So I like. On paper, the Oilers have the depth. I mean, when Victor Arvidsson is on your 4th line, that should be a pretty good, pretty deep team. They just need some of those guys to find a way to get a goal. But that's tough against this Panthers team. That's tough. But, I mean, come on. I mean, it's a deep team. Corey Perry has how many goals?
9, I think. Yeah. Another Blackhawks legend. Yeah.
That's probably way too many for Corey Perry to be having on any team. But, that's goal-scoring depth there. I know he's playing on the first line, but he's producing.
Yeah,
fair point.
We went through the stat we found interesting was the Oilers have 7 players with 10 or more points this postseason, and the Florida Panthers have 12. So
to be fair, the Oilers have that McDry tax, but yeah,
that's true. Yeah, and the McDry tax. If you play with those 2. Okay, Greg, we've taken so much of your time. You're super generous with it as always. We really love having you. Thanks for doing this. Anything we can shout out for you, where the people can find you, what they should follow, what they should subscribe to?
Yeah, just I'm still over there on X at Greg Boysen, doing a bunch of writing over at Chicago Hockey Now. You can got another draft prospect profile going up here as soon as we're off the air. So you can check out another for those of you who want size, you're going to like this profile. So check it out. That's going to be going up here shortly. You can become a yearly member over there at Chicago Hockey Now. If you use the promo code Greg10, you get $10 off the
Use
year.
this promo code.
That means $30 for an entire year of you'll get all the plus content. Plus, what's worth it the most to me, ad-free browsing across the entire National Hockey. Get rid of all those ads just by paying, $2 a month. That makes a world of difference, and it helps out not just me, but a lot of great writers we have on the National Hockey Now network. So check it out. Follow along. Become a subscriber. You won't regret it. I'll make it worth your money.
Absolutely. Awesome. Go support Greg. He's been super generous to us, so please show the love to him. Our audience loves when you come on. So yeah, once again, thanks so much, and we'll talk again soon. All right.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, guys. Anytime.
Take care, Greg. All right. That was Greg Boysen. As electric as always.
I love the CHR legend tag because he really is a CHR legend. He's
CHR
leading
legend.
when it comes to guest appearances. Greg Boysen's in first place, I believe, of 3. I don't think anybody's even close to him. So I keep extending that lead there.
Yeah, absolutely. CHR GOAT, Greg Boysen. All right, we're going to hit a break because we've still got Game 4 talk to do. We got Game 3 talk to do, and we've got a Mount Rushmore. So all that and more coming at you after the break. Welcome back, Chicago Hockey Radio. We've got a packed second half of the hour, so we need to get through all of it. Up first, we got another Mount Rushmore. This was a good one. This was one that needed no research at all whatsoever.
Yeah, no laptops open for this one.
Yeah. So without further ado, this is Chicago Hockey Radio's Mount Rushmore of all-time Chicago Blackhawks.
Okay, everybody. Surprising, maybe is the word to use, that we have not gotten to this one yet, but it is
It's a big one.
an easy one. It is the Mount Rushmore of all-time Chicago Blackhawks.
Oh.
This one should be pretty open and shut, but we'll see.
But with this crew, anything's possible.
Yeah, I don't need notes for this one.
We'll see. I have the first pick, and with the first pick, I am going to go with Michael Frolik. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a good pick.
Patrick Kane.
Yeah. What a terrible pick. Clearly it was, I don't know. I was going to say a name, but I shouldn't be saying any names.
It's me? Okay. I am going to take Jonathan Toews at 2.
Ah.
Without a doubt. Stop it. Don't me.
That's whatever. Fair.
That's who you would have taken at 2.
I would have taken Patrick Kane ahead of Jonathan Toews.
He took Patrick Kane 1.
Oh.
What? Yeah, we've been
What's
here.
wrong with
We
me?
have been here all morning.
My brain is fried. My brain is so fried.
It's almost 6 o'clock. We've been here all day.
Yeah, Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, Stan Mikita. Give me Stan Mikita.
And I will take Bobby Hull and Tony Esposito.
All right. I will take Duncan Keith.
I will take Marian Hossa.
Okay. A lot of guys.
He's doing research over here.
No, I'm just like, I want to have,
we're supposed to have a
all,
shot for this
Yeah.
one.
I
That's
wanna
what you
have-
were saying.
I want to have all my options right in front of my face.
Hey, yo.
Every single player that's ever played for
Sus.
them.
Give me Chris Chelios and Denny Savard.
All right. I'm going to go with Brent Seabrook.
All right. Yeah, well, I will go with
Doug Bentley.
Glenn Hall. Glenn Hall, why not? Yeah, that'll do.
Elmer Vasco here for Team Chat GPT.
No, we're taking Jeremy Roenick and Corey Crawford.
Respect. I like those. Why are you laughing? Those are good picks.
No, I'm laughing at what I'm about to do.
Oh.
We already know it's Bedard.
Yeah,
brother.
it's
we already
right. It is
Connor
Bedard.
Bedard.
we've been waiting for that.
Gosh, dude. What a
I mean, bro, we started today's
My
show
brain is mashed. I'm sorry, guys.
10 minutes in, and you're like screaming about defending your Pookie. So, I was waiting for it.
Yes, they'll know it's me.
I'm just gonna go with another Cup guy. I'll take Nick Jalmerson.
Yeah, I thought about Hammer.
And to round it out, Patrick Sharp.
Sharpie.
Oh, maybe I could have gone Sharpie instead of Hammer.
Honorable mentions,
Oh boy,
Seth Jones.
Brandon
Steve
Foley.
Larmer.
Keith Magnuson,
Michael Hanzus,
Pierre Palat,
Yeah.
Ed Belfour,
Ben Smith.
Jack Skilly.
Yeah,
Jack Skilly, yes.
Skilly.
Jack
Shout
Skilly.
out friend of the program, Jack
That's right.
Skilly.
Cam Barker,
I feel like there's some guys.
Phil Kershaw.
Doug Wilson, Steve
Yeah.
Larmer, Tony Amonte.
Yeah,
Those guys could have all been
Michael
on there.
Roosevelt.
Cool. That was
Yeah.
fun.
That's fun.
Good one. All right.
How have we not done this yet?
Yeah, I
That's
don't know.
cool. Yeah,
Brendan Saad.
yeah.
Honorable mention, Dylan Strome, Slater Cuckoo.
Any Blackhawks legend ever, as we like to say. Yeah, I guess I probably sold that with the Bedsy pick. I thought I had some. That was pre-ordering. That was like projecting that Bedsy's going to be amongst the greats. But I still had Stan Mikita, who has pretty much all the records. Duncan Keith, the best Blackhawks defenseman. Glenn Hall, argued best goalie. Like, I don't know. I would take it over Team 3, but Teams 1 and 2 I can't taste, so they were going to win. But anyway, Bedsy was a fun pick. It was a troll pick.
It was always like having 1-1 and getting to choose Kane is always gonna, it's hard to mess that up because you just have to get guys that weren't.
Dude, as long as you have Kane, you literally don't even have to have a good rest of your team. You just have Kane, boom, you win.
Okay, that was Mount Rushmore. I came in second. Whatever. I'm okay with it. Better than last. I've had a skid of a couple of bad back-to-back Mount Rushmore, so good to get back in the second place column. I'm
Mr. Inconsistently, man. I'm like Ricky Bobby, either win or finish last, and there's no in between.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pound through some of this news. The news that I care the least about is I'm sure if you guys follow any sort of insiders or Puck Empire or anything on social media, you've seen that. There is a potential move happening between the New York Rangers and the Anaheim Ducks, sending Chris Kreider to Orange County. Good for you, Anaheim. I don't know.
Yeah, I really think that's the needle mover there. Chris Kreider,
Jesus,
22
dude.
goals, 8 assists, 30 points in 68 games. I think that's really going to be the guy that gets you from mid to playoffs, really taking the next step. So, maybe Coach Q can kind of get him a bounce back season there. But, I don't really understand this one, to be honest. I feel like of all the players, I'm sure the Ducks will be making other. It's a sign. It's a sign that the Ducks are going to be aggressive this offseason, and they're probably a year ahead of us in that regard. So, Chris Kreider, I don't know. Sure.
They've got all these young players, and it's still going to be, Ryan Strome, Troy Terry, and Chris Kreider playing all the minutes instead of
they're just going to be playing over the Leo Carlsons and the McTavishes and the Zegerases. Those are the guys who I'll be putting out there. There's so much talent on this team, and how could you find they just got to insulate the right guys? But I just don't know if Chris Kreider is really the needle mover here. But anyway, the trade hasn't happened yet. We'll see. Maybe we'll hear something about that today. The details, whatever they're going to have to give up there. That'd be kind of funny if they actually give up a decent piece there to get Chris Kreider. We'll find out. Yeah.
Thomas in chat said, "Whoa, Chris Kreider, wow, so game changing," with 6 straight face emojis. So
if this was Chris Kreider 3 years ago when he had 50 goals, but he's not quite the same player these days. So maybe a change of scenery is what he needs, but I doubt that, to be honest with you.
It seems like a bit of a gamble, and so good luck, Anaheim. I hope that works out for you.
Yeah.
The Coach Q Kreider connection is going to feed families. More importantly, TJ Oshie officially announces his retirement. Probably saw this coming after he didn't play the entire season. U.S. hockey legend. Obviously, you can't help but think back to
TJ Oshie.
I'll never forget watching that with my dad in our family room bright and early.
Just like me. It was right after a hockey tournament. We just finished up a game, and it was on in the hallways or something, during a tournament. We were watching that, and that just absolutely fired us up. You see that the next day, you want to be TJ Oshie out there. So definitely a guy that we'll miss for sure. Definitely a childhood hockey legend, and definitely one of those guys that was an innovator for sure.
And I fucking hated playing against him on St. Louis. Those St. Louis teams, I know we got the better of them, but just him and Backus and Tarasenko were
just
early.
Pest to play against. Yeah. For sure. Very skilled guy. And obviously, had a nice little career there, Washington as well. Both stops he was equally effective. So probably a bit earlier than we would like to. Again, a lot of injuries late in his career, but one of the best shootout artists of all time, one of the more skilled players. And
he also played so hard, man. Yeah. He had the amazing hands, but he was like a grinder.
He could do anything. He could do anything. And also good buddies with Jonathan Taze in North Dakota. I don't know if you've ever seen that picture of him and Taze together over there. They're good friends. So you'd see him always shaking hands after those Hawks Blues series. Good buddies. So he'll be missed for sure.
Congratulations to TJ Oshie on an awesome career, and we wish him all the best in his next chapter in his life.
For sure. I was watching that TJ Oshie the shootout goals against Russia on repeat when I saw that news. I'm sure they'll be getting a lot of traction. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Let's talk about it. Game 3, Florida wins 6-1 in absolute dominant fashion from the opening face-off to the final whistle. This was the better team in Game 3. They completely dominated. They were mean. They were tough. They were opportunistic. Their passing was just next level. They just seemed like a step ahead of the Edmonton Oilers the entire game. Yeah. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, no, exactly what you just said. I'm not really sure where that. I guess I shouldn't be surprised because the Panthers have done this before, but I just thought against this Oilers team and just the way those first 2 games went, I'm not really sure where this came from. I mean, they just completely dominated them and really just got the Oilers to kind of play their game and try to use it against them, and that did not pan out because the Oilers spent, I think, more time in the box that game than even strength. I mean, what was it, like 13, 11 calls or something like that against the Oilers, something crazy. And they took advantage. They really took advantage of the Peeper and really kind of take advantage of the Oilers. So not the best game for Stuart Skinner, but neither was it for the whole Oilers squad, and a quiet game for McDry. And just when those two aren't showing up, you got no chance if you're the Oilers, right? That's kind of the issue. So even like, you know, they're going to be due for an off game every now and then. I think, you know, they'll bounce back, and just, you know, you need the depth to show up, right? You need the depth to step up every now and then. And we just didn't see that in that game, right? I think Corey Perry was the lone goal scorer, and then, you know, really no depth guys showing up to kind of take a little bit of the load off of McDry. So, yeah, back home for Florida, and oftentimes they're better on the road, but not this series so far. I think exactly what you wanted, right? Take the 2-1 series lead, and all the matchups on this side right now, and pretty much everybody's, you know, saying, you know, Florida back-to-back, but, you know, still got half the games left to win here. You know, this time last year was 3-0, so I still think the Oilers are in this one. I know it's not the way you want to lose a game, but again, they've done this to pretty much everybody. You know, the Leafs, they did twice, 6-1 wins, and destroyed Carolina, and that's just what Florida does, man. So, but no, good for them. Definitely as decisive and dominant win as you could get in the Stanley Cup final for sure. Just didn't see it coming after those first 2 games going to 3 overtimes combined. I did not see that one coming. So, props to them.
Yeah, I picked Florida to win in 6 before the series. I'm standing on that. I think we're starting to see, I mean, you saw glimpses of it throughout the entirety of Game 3. I think this Florida Panthers team is too good, too deep. They're great everywhere. And I think Edmonton does lack the depth. I know that these depth guys have shown out throughout the postseason, but no Hyman. I mean, it's just like you need McDavid and Draisaitl to walk on water in order to win. And so I still think that they're going to win a game. Like, I don't think that this is, you know, the Florida Panthers are going to win the next 2, but
to win 3 is a tall task, admittedly.
It really is against this Florida Panthers
I think
team.
they can, but they're going to have to be perfect every night. Like, that was their off night. They can't afford another off night. Yeah.
I also, and like, I think it's going to happen. Like, I think game 5 we'll probably see it. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Connor and Leon step up big in game 4, but
I think they have to.
I still think I'm going to be picking Panthers to win game 4. We can get into that in a second, but
later.
I just like this Oilers team just doesn't have enough. They just don't. And you know, these questions that we brought up all playoff long, they were warranted. It's just been how good Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl have been, and not just like their play, but their leadership too. We saw another great leadership moment from McDavid after game 3. A reporter asked him, or he said that, like, Stuart Skinner said he needed to be better, and that he was like letting in too many, and he immediately cut off the reporter and was like, I don't know how we're blaming Stu for that. Like,
the whole team was off, right? I think it's easy to, you know, make Stu the scapegoat, but I think, another quote there, like, you know, we have yet to see the best from us in this series, something like that. So I think he's going to take it personally. I think hopefully the whole team will. I can imagine we might be seeing some more, you know, film in the future. I imagine there was maybe the sequel to the right fucking now speech in the intermission, maybe the post game of that game. Just you could see him in the media there. You could tell just the look in his eye. That guy was pissed off and was probably ripping those guys a new one in that room. So I think they're going to be pretty damn motivated game 4 to bounce back and respond. And again, we'll get to that. But
I actually doubt he's like being like super. Like, I don't think he's going to have another like right fucking now moment. Like, maybe if it's like the last period of an elimination game.
I don't know, man. The way that game went.
But that's kind of what he's talked about this season, is like last year felt so emotional, and that's like one of the big things they learned is to not get too up and down with the highs and lows. I think this like level-headed, cool, calm, collected Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid is what has led to the success of the Edmonton Oilers so far. So I think if it does get to the point where he's screaming at these guys, I think that's when they're dead, to be honest with you. I think that's when it's over for them. But I guess maybe that's just my perspective. And I don't know. I think we've seen this Florida Panthers team get hot like this and put up performances like this. They always play well the next game. Like, it's never
there's no
like,
off button with that
it's
team.
never like they look amazing and then all of a sudden they mail one in the next game. Like, this is such a momentum team.
A consistent team.
And when they're feeling it, like that overtime win in game 2 and then that spanking in game 3, I just doubt we're gonna see a mail-in performance from them in game 4. And if this team's at their best, I don't think the Oilers can beat them.
It's fair. I think, logically, pretty much everything is kind of on the Panthers side. I'm going more for the, how do I put this? The vibes, the storylines, all that. And plus, I'm stubborn. I'm not going to say now that after picking the Oilers in 7, I'm not going to go back and I'm going to stick with my guns, just like our CHR legend, Mr. Boysen, as well. I just think those two are on such another level where you're not going to see another game like that out of them. And they are so good that even those two can take on the best team in hockey and find a way to will them to victory. But they're going to need some trickle down, though. I don't think it's just going to happen. Like, they're going to need somebody else to step up as well, whether that's Nugent Hopkins or whoever, Bush, or I don't think it could just solely 110% come through McDry. They're going to need somebody else, and that's going to be the question mark for me. Because Florida, pretty much that whole team you can rely on, like most players in that squad. There's no rest when it comes to the Florida Panthers. Anytime they're out there, it's like there's somebody out there who could kill you. Or if the Oilers is just not the case, right? When it's not McDry, you can almost kind of take, I don't want to say take your foot off the gas, but you almost get a little bit of a break. That's for me the difference with Florida, and that's what's going to be hard to take on. Look at a guy like Sam Bennett. Just the tear he's on right now. 14 goals. I think Ryan Whitney and Spin Chicklets said he might be the best player in hockey right now. It's unreal the bad that guy's going to get. So we'll see if the Hawks are in him. But yeah, probably the Con's my favorite right now for the Panthers. If they take it, who knows?
Yeah.
But again, you could argue. So we said this on the stream. You could argue like 10 guys in the team for Conn Smythe, whereas the Oilers, it's 2 guys. That's the difference. It's the depth that the Panthers have. Like, yes, the Oilers' depth is marginally better, but it's nothing close to the Panthers' depth. It's just on another level. They have 3 first lines. Yeah.
Let's get into some of the narratives of this game 3. A ton of penalties early on. I think if the Oilers are going to win, they need 2 things. They need production from the bottom 6,
Discipline.
and they need their power play to click, and it just didn't. And so I saw so many Oilers fans getting upset about how can you get upset about the refs? You had 3 fucking power play opportunities
too.
Dude, there were 17 in the game. They had 6. They had 3 power play opportunities in the first period and didn't score on a single one of them. That hurts you. You're not going to win. This Oilers team, I said it at the beginning of the series, this Oilers team is not going to win this series hitting at a 15% clip on the peeper.
Yeah, they're not going to be hitting at that 50% that they were, leading up to this, but they can find a middle ground somewhere. I don't know, 30%, 25, something like that. Like when you're only getting a power play goal a game against this Panthers team,
you're not going to win.
But again, the Panthers PK is just so damn good. It's the one PK that can make that Oilers power play look, average. Yeah.
But that's where I think in a series where you feel as though these teams are close, like that's the deciding factor, and especially when. I think if you look at both of these rosters, most people would admit that the Florida Panthers do have the edge in depth. Like that third line is not comparative to the Oilers' third line. Yeah. That means that you have to convert on special teams, and it hasn't been good enough from the Oilers. And yeah, as far as like all the calls in that game, it was a little much. I was upset about it. But
it's bad by both sides. It's not like during that stream we were saying, "Oh, it's rigged one way or the other." We may make jokes here and there, but we don't actually believe that. And the amount of coping I've seen from Oilers fans, I've seen it too. From the Miyamotos and the like on like Twitter and X and all that and Instagram. Like I've never seen anything like it. Like I think when you're losing 6-1, I think there's a little more of the zebras at play there for why you're getting blown out. And especially when you're getting calls too. So and yeah, like they were just making stupid decisions, man. Like most of especially those plays late, like they were just making dumb plays. Like you're gonna call that. So early in the game, I would agree there were some calls that probably on both sides that probably shouldn't have been, but late in the game, clearly they're just taking out their frustration. Fair enough, get it out of the way now and start fresh for game 4, I guess. Yeah.
And look, there were I want to say there were 16 penalties between games 1 and 2. So these refs are obviously calling a lot.
It's been the case all series. That's precedent, right?
Which sucks. Which that does suck. Like that, I'm not for that. But as an athlete, I never played hockey. I played soccer. But look, there would be games where you can tell, hey, this referee's on one. Like, this guy's going to be calling everything.
So you got to adjust.
And it's that sucks. Nobody likes that. That's not how the game should be played. But if that's what's happening, why are you doing these stupid cross checks after the whistle if you know they're getting called? What
are you gaining from that?
You have to be smarter than that. And then as far as the kerfuffle at the end, that scrum and the Oilers get nasty, and I don't have a problem with any of that.
No, I think that they should be doing that, right? I like that. And there's some people complaining about that, but it's like, well, what do you want to do? You just want to take it? The Panthers, that's kind of the style of play that they do. And it's like, you got to be able to give it back to them. You can't play scared, right? I think that's another thing, though, is because the Panthers lull you in and then they try to play their game and they're not going to be able to play it as effective. That's probably why they're taking all those calls, right? The Panthers able to kind of skirt that fine line, that's been a big difference maker.
Just the narratives after this game was kind of like frustrating me, just because like even with the questions that like McDavid and Draisaitl were getting after just like about the team losing their cool and stuff. It's like
playoffs.
It's like the early penalties were bad. Those were undisciplined. But as far as like them going after Wallman getting a $5,000 fine for getting Matthew Tkachuk in a headlock and punching him in the face, like Evander Kane hitting Carter Verhaeghe in the face while he's down on the ice with the stick.
When you've already lost a game, that's what you do.
It's over. That's what you do. That's how you win in the playoffs. And people might not like it, but I didn't think the Edmonton Oilers lost their cool at a bad time. They realized, hey, this one's over. Let's be mean. Let's be nasty. Let's try to take these guys.
We see the Panthers do that too, like in the same situation.
That's their whole game. They do it every time. Justin, they do it every time. Anytime they're losing a game and it's out of hand, they just devolve into that. It's just beat somebody up.
Yeah, at least get some wear and tear done, right? Maybe try to get these guys off their game for the next one, right? Yeah. Why not? Give them some bruises that they have to recover from. Like, that's playoff hockey. It sounds cruel, but that's kind of the name of the game. Like you are, in a way, sort of trying to break the other team. You are. I guess that's hockey. I don't know.
And it's not a new development. It's
been around for years.
A Florida
it's always
Panthers
been around.
Started this. That's how you win playoff series, is you beat up on other teams. You're not going to win every single game. And when there are games that you are losing handily, that's how you should respond. You should show fight. And so I have no issue with it.
Yeah. I thought that's what we're supposed to love about hockey. Like, why is that like, where did this narrative start to change, man? It feels like it's a recent development. I don't really get it. I don't know. I guess just a lot of these new gen fans weren't around for that. I don't know.
I love the Gadjevich and Nurse fight. Shout out to Nurse for going with them for that long.
He was really nursing him.
That is a tough customer. Yeah. And that was a sick tilt. They were throwing bombs at each other. Gadjevich landed a bunch.
Love to see some tilts this time of year. You don't always see a ton, right? And definitely seeing a lot of that chippiness and physicality in this series, and that's exactly what you want to see. We've definitely gotten a little bit of everything so far. Yeah, but I do hope the next game is more reminiscent to games 1 and 2 than game 3. I'd like to see a closer game, but I think we were probably due for something like that, just the way those first 2 games went. I know, being saying the opposite of what I was saying earlier here, but like you're not going to get 3 straight close overtime games. Like we were probably due for that type of chaotic game like that, right?
Yeah. And for the Florida Panthers, I mean, Bennett stepping up again, Brad Marchand scoring the first goal of the game, but I think Reinhart and Barkov really showed up in this one. They needed them to. They've been lacking a little bit, and Reinhart had an amazing game. I know he had that sweet
best game he had in a while.
Yeah, I agree. He had that sweet feed on the Ekblad power play goal, and he had the absolute snipe for himself as well. So those guys showing up again, and I know Barkov didn't end up on the score sheet, but
he was still effective.
He made the play that led to the Verhaeghe. Was it the Verhaeghe?
Was it the
goal?
ref that got in the way?
Yeah,
for one of those?
When the ref
took his assist away,
he should have gotten an assist on that. But then also on the Ekblad goal, he was passing it back and forth with Matthew Tkachuk. So he's not on the score sheet, but he's still been effective. Like it's not like he's out there making mistakes. He's still out there for every single penalty kill. He's still doing the job. He's shutting down. He's been up against Connor McDavid like every single shift almost.
Yeah.
He's still doing a job. So,
and how about the Rat too? Like 8 goals. It feels like every game he's scoring now. Big goals, and he's kind of been the heartbeat of that team. It kind of feels like he's really been driving a lot of that, the momentum and all that.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure,
scored in every single game so far. So, he's just showing up again. And yeah, this Panthers team is a joke, man. They are so talented. They have so much depth, and they're scary. And so I really do like if the Oilers win this, man, like this is literally GOAT stuff. Like if they're
it's going to be because of McDavid and Draisaitl, right? It's going to be because of those two. They're going to need them to be what they did last year, probably even more than that. They're going to need even more than that. So, and it could easily happen. It's just crazy because that's also the first time I've seen the Oilers lose consecutive games since games 1 and 2 versus the Kings. It's definitely the worst they've looked since some of those early tilts. So, but no, I think this team is very capable of getting a response. And honestly, I think it's going to happen next game. Honestly, I don't think they can afford to have another game like that and go down 3-1. I know they were down 3-0 last year, but I don't think they could come back 3-1. So I am going to call Game 4 a must-win.
It is
for your Edmonton Oilers. I think you got to get a split on the road. You got to go back to Edmonton 2-2, and then all of a sudden, if you win that, boom, you got 2 home games. So you got home ice advantage, which you didn't have last year. So look, things could change quick. I think it's easy after this game, 6-1 blow up for the Panthers to write that Oilers team off, and I'm not going to be doing that.
This is going to be Lee and Justin's final
Oilers disagreement.
Well, I was going to say calling a game that's not a must-win, a must-win.
Oh, that's right. Well, it literally is.
This will be our final of the season, and I completely agree. I think it is. I think if you go 3-1 against this Panthers team, you're not coming back. So.
No, you're not going to win 3 straight against this team. I guess they did last year, but this Oilers team is better. This Panthers team is better, and you could argue this Oilers team honestly isn't, but might be enough. Yeah.
So let's transition now. I guess start talking about Game 4.
Let's preview this. Yeah.
I was arguing a bit with Greg about it, and even after I wasn't going to continue talking about it because we don't need to argue about Stuart Skinner versus Calvin Pickard for 20 minutes on this show on Chicago Hockey Radio. We don't have to turn it into Skinner Pickard Hockey Radio, but I really think you go Calvin Pickard for Game 4. I cannot understand this guy. I've got the stats here. I mean, okay, so he was at 906 in Game 1, let in 3 goals. He was fine. Game 2, 5 goals, 881. Game 3, 5 goals, 783. It's not been good enough. He's not the stats aren't there to suggest keeping him in.
But how often do you go back to a guy in the Cup final? Like just Pickard hasn't seen the puck in forever.
This is a different. I understand that we have history and most of the teams that get to the Stanley Cup final have a guy. This Edmonton Oilers team is completely different. This Edmonton Oilers team got here on the back of Calvin Pickard coming in and having a legacy.
It really had nothing to do with Pickard. The team stepped up.
That's not true though.
He had like an 888 save percentage. It wasn't that much better.
Okay, but you can't have Calvin Pickard come in and it's like a light switch with the team where they immediately start playing better.
Oh, that's what it looked like, honestly.
Well, it was. So then why the hell would you not do that right now? You just got. I think that was a bad loss. That was like a morale destroying loss. You just got battered by this team in all areas of the ice. This is when you make a change like that.
Yeah, but I don't think it was solely because, yes, Skinner, he wasn't a great game, but I honestly think it was more on the team than Stuart Skinner. I think you got show some faith in your guy, and I think he'll reward him. I think he's look at Game 4 Stuart Skinner. Look at his stats, man. He's been unreal in those situations. So I think Stanley Cup, you sleep in the bed you make, man. This time of year, I just think that it's a little late for moves like that.
I can't believe that people are hitting me with, Stu's the guy after we saw it work earlier in the playoffs. I know he
did bounce back.
I know he bounced back, but now he's bad again. So you make this
one-off game.
The past 2 games, the stats 3 games in are not good enough.
I don't know. I think it's been more the Panthers have just been bad. I think it's a team effort here. I think it's easy to make Stu the scapegoat. I'm not going to do that again.
It's not that I'm making him the scapegoat at all. I think the team got dominated.
So you think Calvin Pickard's going to step up here?
I think the difference between Stu and Calvin Pickard is not that big, and I think you make the change. I hope they leave Stu in net, and then the Panthers fucking run him over in Game 4. I hope it happens, but I think you go Pickard in this spot.
Calvin Pickard's going to come in and he's going to shut out that Florida team.
It's not like he's going to stand on his head. It's why do you, Justin? Why do you ever put a backup goalie in? You're never putting in a backup goalie because you think he's better than the starter. It's just sometimes you got to put your backup in, and I think this is that situation.
You could do it once, but this late again, I don't know. I just think it's. I think it's unfortunately it's Skinner, Ryder. This is not a great alternate option here, man. I got to ride with Skinner at this point.
Skinner's not I thought that overtime goal against Brad Marchand was atrocious. I thought a couple of he just doesn't move well east-west. Anytime the Panthers do a cross ice pass, it's like, oh gosh, there's Skinner 30. I mean, you were saying it on the stream last night. You were like, what is he doing? I don't understand. For me, it's so obvious. You got to go Pickard in this spot. But I guess this is fun. I like disagreeing with you.
They haven't made a decision yet, right? I mean, at least before they started the show, they had. I don't know if they have by now. I think we probably know by now. So clearly, they're considering it. They're considering putting Pickard in, or else they would have just been like, "Yeah, Skinner's good to go for this game." So we might not know until game time who's starting. So we'll be interested to see. I just think the Oilers have bigger problems than who they're starting goal at this rate. Yeah. I think they have more aspects of their game. Sorry, the game's Thursday, not today. Jesus. What's by the way? Sorry,
I know. Yeah, go ahead.
This is back-to-back games here in Florida. There's no travel, so why are we having this 2-day break between games 3 and 4 in the same location? Then you only have a 1-day break from Thursday to Saturday when you're going from Florida back to Edmonton. Can you explain the logic there? The logic isn't logicking. They just had a 2-day break over the weekend. Now you're giving another 2-day break after one game, and then a 1-day break when you're going 2,500 miles or something between Edmonton and Florida. Makes literally no sense whatsoever. We should be having a hockey game tonight, not Thursday. That's absolute crime. So I guess they have time to figure out who's going to start. We'll probably hear that tomorrow. But Yeah, I don't even remember what we were talking about. I just had a ramble about these breaks between the playoffs.
We were just doing Skinner versus Pickard talk.
Yeah,
And,
I think I was saying, I think the Oilers have things in their schemes and their game plan and stuff that are of greater relevance than who they start in net at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not getting the saves, and they've got another goaltender who's already come in and done great for them and not lost a game in the playoffs. If he's healthy, I think you go back to that guy.
I think both Skinner, Pickard, whatever it is, the Edmonton Oilers goalie is as good as the team in front of him. Like I just don't think it's that the difference. Like you said, the difference isn't that great. Maybe that's the argument you're making there, but message sending move, but those don't always work out as we've seen.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's say they ride with Skinner in Game 4 and he gets battered again. I would assume you're not going to be saying stay with your guy going back home.
It depends. You say he gets battered, but it depends. But I guess that's an elimination game, so it's a little bit different. It's ride or die. You probably got to do something. So I couldn't say at the moment. You have to see how the game played out. The goals are really on him, but he had some really rough games. Don't get me wrong. Like against the Kings, you could easily point to him. But maybe there's a couple softies in this series too. But I wouldn't say I think it was more the Oilers just didn't play well than Skinner was the reason they when you're losing 6-1. I think it's easy to put that all on the goalie, but I think there was a lot more play.
I'm not putting it all on the goalie. I'm not doing that at all. I'm just saying this is the time you go to your backup who's played well for you.
The Cup final,
yes. Get your team the juice.
I don't know. I think there's I don't know. It's a question mark. Yeah, sure.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I don't think riding Stu Skinner after you lost last year and then this year.
I just have a hard time imagining you're winning a cup with Calvin Pickard.
I have a hard time imagining winning a Stanley Cup with Stuart
They've come close.
Skinner.
They've come close. They've got to 7.
Yeah, this Oilers team is in trouble. I guess the more I talk about it,
maybe that's the thesis statement here is we're having this much of an argument between Skinner and Pickard. Yeah, you might be cooked. I don't know. I'm still gonna ride them though. I'm gonna be delusional, but we'll
I promise you though, if they ride Stuart Skinner and they lose again, I promise you're gonna start hearing comments about how Nobla should have gone to. Everyone's gonna say it. Everyone's gonna be a hindsight Herald. Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying to do it now.
Sure, yeah, there's an argument there. It's a fair argument when you're putting up a 783 save percentage last game. Yeah, it's definitely an argument.
Okay, how do you see this game playing out? What's your we got to do score predictions and
it's hard to when you lose 6-1. It's hard to get that type of. But look, it's a 2-day break. It's a fresh slate. I do see the Oilers responding. I think they have to respond, man. So I do see them giving a response here in Game 4 and nearly edging out the Panthers. Not a lot of logic in that, to be honest. I feel like I can go into the analysis and all that. Bring up stats, but it's more of a vibes, feelings type of prediction. If I'm going to be honest here, if I'm going to shoot you straight, not every prediction I make is based off of all these bullet points and factoids. Some of it has to do with the storyline and stuff, and I just think the Oilers, man, I think big try. They're due for a bounce back, take it personally type of effort, and I think they're just going to drag this team. They're going to the best players of all time are able to drag their team to victory. I think they're going to be able to do that. I think they're going to drag this team, willpower this team to victory in Game 4, and I think you're going to see a lot of the dialogues changed all of a sudden. If Edmonton's able to tie the series up and go back home and have home ice the rest of the series, and might be seeing some different takes there, but it's going to take a lot, right? Obviously, after that last game, it's hard to. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people on the Oilers' side at this rate, but I'm not going to be one of those people who jump ship. I'm going to stick with the captain goes down the ship here, so we're going to ride this out, even though it's not a confident prediction whatsoever. The Panthers could very easily wipe the Fortis team again, but I just don't think they had their one. I think the rest of these games are probably going to be pretty damn close. So yeah.
What was the score?
Oh, I never put a score. I never said a score prediction. That was all the intro to my score prediction. I'll say, wow, I can't believe I'm going to say Stuart Skinner was a bounce back performance. Jesus, what's going on here? Man, it's hot in here. Like sweating like the seat in an airplane.
It's fucking 85 degrees.
I know. I feel like I'm going to melt. I will say the Oilers come out on top, and we're due for an under game, right?
Well, I'm going to start doing this. Score prediction.
And also, can we keep the goddamn whistles away and just let the boys play?
Love of God.
It's the Stanley Cup final. We don't need 15 calls or 10 calls. Let's have an even strength till. I said this on Monday, so it's not going to happen once again. We're going to get 5 calls and 5 power plays in the first period. That's my favorite. That's my favorite Stanley Cup playoff game when it's just power plays the whole game. I love that. That's great. I like to see a pure game with no funny business. That's what I want to see. Anyway, my score prediction: 3-2 Oilers. Yeah.
I'm gonna predict an under, but it doesn't feel like an under game. Like I feel like there's gonna be goals, but I'm gonna be betting on the under because that's when it's gonna be due. Is when you think it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, dude, the exact same score prediction I gave for Game 3. I'm gonna say 4-2 Cats. Yeah, I think they're going to continue to pick up where they left off. I don't think the Oilers have the answer. And look, I don't think there's going to be as many power play opportunities in this game. And I think where these teams both are at right now with Hyman out for the Oilers, I think
News is questionable too, isn't it?
I think if you're playing mostly 5-on-5 hockey, that favors the Florida Panthers. So, yeah, I'm leaning them. I'm going to go with them. Oilers power play needs to be better. They have to be more disciplined. And you got to start Calvin Pickard instead of Stuart Skinner. But that's my thoughts. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I do think even strength probably favors the Panthers, but if I'm the Oilers, I'd still prefer even strength than spending the whole game in the penalty box. So I think either way, there's progress to be made there. It can't get worse, right? Surely. If that's not a game that fires you up and gets you to motivate for the next one to bounce back, I don't know what will. So it's really do or die. It's maybe a must. It's a can't lose game for the Oilers, and I think now is the time to show the media and all the talking heads and everything, what you're really made of, and if you're for real, this could be your last chance, second to last chance. So, gotta make it happen. Gotta find a way. When there's a will, there's a way, and I think they'll make a way to make it happen there. Yeah.
I hope. It would be awesome to see Edmonton tie up the series and have a big bounce back performance and send us back to Edmonton with a tied series. I think that's what the neutral wants. Yeah, the hockey's been so good that that's
a big part of it, Lee. A lot of it's not necessarily logic; it's want, it's heart. I want to see 7 games of this series, and I don't think we're going to see 7 games of this series if the Oilers don't come out on top in this Game 4. So, I mean, it's let's not let that Game 3 forget how cinematic those first 2 games were, and I think we're probably going to see a game more like that. And I want to sign up for a 7-game series. I think we're still going to get that. I'm not going to overreact to that. And even though it was a game that you definitely could warrant overreactions, I'm not going to say the Oilers are done after that 6-1 loss. Yeah.
Fair enough. Game 4 tomorrow night, 7:00. We're going to be live streaming on Chicago Hockey Radio, Justin and I. They've been so much fun to do.
Yes. These live streams have been great, man. They've been cinematic, and we don't have much left here, but for each of these cup games, we're all going to be together, we're all going to be there, and should be a lot of fun. So definitely, if you haven't been there for those, I'm not sure what you're doing, but
maybe
definitely
we'll
get in there.
Maybe we'll do a drinking game tomorrow.
Let's do some games. Yeah, we've been doing some games during these live streams. That would be a lot of fun, actually. Yeah, we should do that. That'd be a lot of fun.
I'll pick up some pops beforehand.
Yeah. I don't know if we can do that, boys, but
a drinking chocolate milk game, a drinking water game. We didn't say what.
You definitely can. You just can't admit it. So we'll maybe possibly be doing that tomorrow.
No, allegedly. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, allegedly.
All right, I think that's it. Unless you have any other thoughts.
Yeah, no, I think that's it for me too. I'm just excited, man. It sucks. I feel like we should be getting amped up for a game tonight, and it sucks. We have to have these long waits are killing me. It just feels like it kills momentum, man. It really does, and hopefully it won't affect the ratings too much. So, but yeah, we'll be right back at tomorrow night. Should be a fun one. Back in Florida. I'm looking forward. I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking forward to the series getting back to Edmonton too, because with all due respect to Florida, just nothing really beats that Edmonton environment and that atmosphere. I think there's a reason why those games in Edmonton so far have been more entertaining than the ones in Florida. So, but hopefully we get one good one in Florida as well. Yeah.
I agree. We'll be there tomorrow night. Thank you all so much for listening today. Hit the like button on this video if you haven't yet. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Follow the Instagram, Chicago Hockey Radio, if you haven't yet. And if you listen to us today on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating and review. We will see you tomorrow night. Thank you so much. We love you. See you later.